Hello, team owners. Listen, here's the two options on the poll that's going to be coming up. There's no voting. Once the trade's accepted, it goes through. Now, the only problems that I have with this, I understand the NFL does it like that and everything else, but this is not real life NFL here, guys. Crazy things can happen. As soon as we set this thing where there's no votes, you're going to have people saying, that trade sucked, it went through, no review. So no league voice. If you vote option 1 in the poll, then you're just saying that you're okay with the trade no matter what it looks like. Now, the reason I've had it like I've had it, the reason I've tried to work hard to make this as fair as possible is because I do think there needs to be some review of trades. I don't know the answer to that. We're limited on how much we can change the settings. So I've come up with some out-of-the-box thinking there. And at first, I think the default setting was like 2 or 3 vetoes. I think 25% of the league needs to veto a trade. Of course, you got to go in there and vote for the trade. You go in there for your team 1, 2, 3, 4 times a week. You set your roster. There's no reason not to check and see if there is a trade on the table if we continue to go that route. But I did set it for 5 votes because I feel like 1, 2, or 3, I feel like you got these 1 or 2 that are going to veto everything. It always happens that way. Those people are somewhat irrelevant when it comes to voting down a trade. They're just going to knee-jerk and do that anyway. So I set it at 5. I feel like if 25% of the league vetoes a trade, then there's something wrong with the trade. Those two parties can go back and negotiate the trade again, try to make it better, try to go on the stump. Again, I want everyone to have that fair shot, voices heard, and all of these things. So be careful. Don't knee-jerk on the poll that's coming out. Vote appropriately. I did set it for 5 to make it harder for a veto. I also think that if I'm looking at the vetoes and the yeses on a trade, and it's 6 yeses to no vetoes, then I can probably not look at that anymore and just let it go through. We've talked about maybe some accelerating. I'm not sure that's the best thing to do for me to accelerate, but I feel there does need to be a review period, and that everyone at least needs to see something. I feel like 5 vetoes is good enough to where a lot of people have to not like it. Even if you have those couple of naysayers, a lot of people have to not like it for it to be vetoed down. And I do think that me being able to review a trade, if it ends up with 3 vetoes and 3 yeses, then I can go back on the stump and say, hey, everybody needs to vote on the trade and push for that. Of course, if there's 3 vetoes, if the review period goes all the way through and it's 3-3, then it goes through. But that gives me a chance to look and say the trend is trending toward a possible veto. I'm not going to say that in the when I try to push people to vote. I'm just going to say continue to vote. It's close. So there's your options. 1, let it just go through. 2, let's keep it the same, maybe tweak it a little bit, talk about it a little bit more, and check your settings. Okay, as far as the team defense, no changes made this year. I've reviewed it fully. I do think there's one small area that can be tweaked, but I think that it's pretty solid, the settings that I've carefully put together. We will talk about that in the future. We're not going to talk about it anymore this year. I cannot change it. So it's the way it is. I like Randy's statement. Pay attention to your team defense, who they're up against, exercise your options there. Stick with that defense and hope they pull through against a great offense like Baltimore or Kansas City, or go out there and find a defense that's playing a terrible team. Yes, you have a short bench. It's going to make it tough. That's the reason I do this. That's the reason I've set everything up like this. I want it to be tough. I want it to give you a headache so that you can play hard. And I just don't like the simple leagues that are sitting out there. And that's why I've done some of the things I've done. I hope you can appreciate those things. Thank you very much. Now that you've watched the video, go vote in the poll.